The Whistler.
Hi, future victims. I'm going to start this story by telling you like this. In the vast, shadowy plains of Venezuela, under a sky darkened by storm clouds, there is a tale passed down from generation to generation. It's the story of the Whistler, a cursed figure who roams the land, his presence marked by a haunting, distant whistle and a heavy sack that drags behind him. But this story carries an even darker twist, a cursed pot, hidden in the depths of the wilderness, tied to the Whistler's eternal torment. Long ago, before he became the dreaded specter, the Whistler was just a young man, consumed by greed and cruelty. Born into a wealthy family, he was spoiled beyond measure, never knowing hunger or hardship. But his heart grew dark, and he craved more power, more wealth, more control. One night, during a violent argument, he committed an unthinkable crime. He killed his father in a fit of rage, his desire for control overwhelming any sense of morality. As his father lay lifeless, the Whistler demanded his mother to cook his father's organs in a pot, mocking the old traditions of preparing food. When she discovered what had happened, she cursed her son, condemning him to an eternity of torment. Soon after, the Whistler fled into the wilderness, his mind twisted, clutching the very pot that held the remains of his father. But this pot was no ordinary object. It became cursed, bound to him as a symbol of his crime. The air around it became thick with death, and wherever he carried it, a terrible doom followed. From then on, he wandered endlessly, whistling a mournful tune, dragging the cursed pot behind him, forever haunted by the weight of his sin. His whistle was said to change in volume, growing softer the closer he came, a terrifying omen for anyone who dared to listen. Years passed, and the Whistler transformed into something monstrous. He no longer resembled a man, but a gaunt, hollow-eyed figure with long, skeletal arms that stretched unnaturally. The pot, filled not only with the remains of his father, but the bones of all those who crossed his path, grew heavier with each life he claimed. Travelers who wandered too far into the plains at night would often hear the eerie, distant whistle. If the whistle was faint, it meant the Whistler was close, watching from the shadows, waiting to strike. His whistle was a cruel trick, deceiving those who heard it. Soft when he was near, loud when he was far. Many who tried to flee found themselves face to face with him, his bony hands outstretched, ready to claim another soul. One fateful evening, a young man named Andres, traveling alone, decided to take a shortcut through the plains, despite warnings from the villagers. As he walked through the dense fog, he heard it, the whistle. At first, it seemed far away, just a faint note carried on the wind. But as he continued, the sound grew softer, closer. His heart pounded in his chest, and a cold sweat broke out across his skin. Suddenly, he saw it. A shadowy figure in the distance, dragging something heavy behind him. Andres froze. The whistle grew almost silent, and with it, a creeping terror took hold. He knew then that he had made a grave mistake. The figure moved closer, slowly, and as it drew near, Andres could make out the outline of the cursed pot, scraping against the earth. In his terror, Andres tried to run, but his legs felt as though they were sinking into the ground. The weight of the curse surrounded him. He stumbled, looking back to see the Whistler, his long, skeletal arms reaching out, his hollow eyes locked onto him. Before Andres could scream, the cursed pot was upon him, and the last thing he heard was the final, faint note of the whistle. By morning, Andres was gone, another soul claimed by the Whistler and his cursed pot. The villagers still speak of the ghostly figure, warning travelers to never venture into the plains alone at night. For those who hear the whistle know that doom is near, and the cursed pot of the Whistler is never far behind, waiting to claim another victim.
If you liked it, don't forget to like it, and subscribe for more content like this. Stay safe.